what did I do? I hit start stream. That means it's too late. Back up, back out. No backing out now. Hi. Guess who's here? Are we ready? Your host loves you the most. Yeah, even you. Everybody's included in the club of Eddy Love. I'm multi-streaming here, need to take a few moments, do preliminary checks and all those things for live streaming. So a few minutes to warm up, also run this segment, running with this segment now. I'm still waiting, I need to confirm that I'm all live on right now on Kick, YouTube, Trovo, Day5, Twitch. Okay, I see the Twitch thingy on, so I can continue. Meanwhile, a few moments of the action replay, short clips, some old stuff recorded with the smartphone camera, Nokia Zeiss Optics. Well, it's a work day, weekdays, or the working weekdays, and we work also here, or me, me, you, me, us. Continue learning, continuing to aggregate knowledge capital, the modern gold of our age, information. Look at these guys. Look at these guys. These guys signed me up from Trovo. Okay. Double check that. Am I in? Yeah, going in. That was the last final bit I was missing. Now I got that in the space. There you go, send, just like they say. And bring me to my space over there. And these things on Twitch, so let's go to arrays thingy, so I can share with you. You can see the progress. I just need to pop out chat of YouTube. YouTuber stuffs. Yeah, okay, yeah. Yeah, move away this filthy cigar out your faces. Oh, there you go, I got a light, eh? It's a new app for light for streamer. It's a notepad, maximized notepad window on the LCD TV. So here are the last bits, final bits. If you're following past few days what I've been up to, it will be the same top content, but yeah, next steps in learning Blender and Godot development in Godot, big game engine. And this is all sorted. Yeah, nice. Got it all. And what do I say? What should I say? I didn't update. Should have updated my notes, the general topics for the content here, how it's distributed, edited, updated. I'll cool down the music a little bit. I don't have a video clip like for the intro. And I usually do it like this. And it goes like this. Hello ladies and gentlemen. This is a live recording and a rehearsal session from Studio La Betoga, which is my place. I'm your host, Malivir Eddy, who loves you the most, even you. And you're watching Eddy does Internet of Capitalism show. Thank you, welcome. And for this, during work weeks, recently I'm on topic of knowledge, acquiring knowledge gift that keeps on giving. And if you're watching the long stream recording, you can jump to the end of the stream. I do the recapitulation and export that part of video as a standalone with a link. Usually I will update all those recapitulations to the link to the section that is related to the subject of covered subjects during the stream, because the link is to my website, and there I do all the updates. My website and the rest of the internet, my channels and profiles, wherever I see as a living canvas, but my place of doing business and conversions is actually the website itself. And that's how we roll here. For all contacts infos, jump through there. You can reach out to me from there. I don't work for other platforms. I am very grateful for the free facilities they provide to go online, publish tools they provide, but I'm not paid by X, Twitter, YouTube. Nobody pays me over there, it's all for free. So I don't persistently create content over there. I republish, edit the content I create and publish it, keep it updated. Only on my platform. My canvas. My work of life. You know what I mean. Switching to the full screen. Oh, here is the, you can see, okay, this is my streaming light up, and this is the website. And so for these last series of learning, I've started forming, shaping the structure for that content. So on the main page here is learning Godot engine day by day. Just to point out, I'm not the pro official tutor, I just share what I do, maybe to encourage what it takes. Can't afford formal training, so I compile and build my own course. Have some background, especially for coding, programming. I'm familiar with the standards, UIs, desktop apps, web apps. So this is the section that I opened this thing. I opened the post learning Godot, which is actually a tree, a index content starting order to show from day 1 up to the latest. Now it's day 12 for Godot, and it should be, I think, the day 5 for Blender. I'll do both of these, cover both of these topics today in a separate section, so it's easier to edit them, publish later. And for each day I segment it as days. I've talked about that in the previous video, and in a standalone also update to the update video, let's say. Let's just call it simple like that, about this series. And I haven't built a dedicated index for the Blender yet, because I'm just starting with a proper format for all together, this concept. And well, some might say these are just improvisation. No, it's a living canvas. I get back to it and improve each time, each iteration. I do updates as much as I can on my own. Sometimes sometimes I kind of take these annoying pauses when I talk. I just want to avoid terminology that sounds like a excuse or excuses, giving excuses. I don't want to do that. I try to avoid using terms like something is hard or difficult or complex. That are all just lies. Nothing's hard, nothing is complex, everything is achievable. You just need to reach out or do the first step. With that said, what? So, what should I do maybe before I hit the official, start like officially going through either Godot or Blender? Let me bring them up. So I've got already Godot showing here, the documentation for it. I just need one tab, and I was going through the Blender manual. I'll just open the main page for Blender. I'll throw these windows down. So each time I a little bit improve on the presentation here. And where is the... And you know what I'll do? So this is Blender 4.3, new splash screen illustration. What's this? Is this grease pencil? It could be the main update we got from there. And for Godot, I've started with 3.6 and stopped with the 3.6 in the latest previous stream. I didn't cut it, trim it, edit it yet, but you still have few previous episode to catch up. They're still free and in the open on YouTube and other platforms until they trim it off, delete it. Only YouTube for me provides permanent video storage, while others just delete it after a week, like Twitch, let's say. So if I now zoom this in, like I do here, so you can see clearly in your small screens, laptops, mobiles, at least a little bit better. And here I adjust so that my application also fits the screen and it's a bit enlarged. That's good. So for Blender, I'll just hit here. Where is the manual? Okay, manual is not on the splash screen, it's in the help. And that's the way to open the documentation manual for Blender, because they are on the website. Actually, like a moment ago, I clicked their menu. I don't see the manual here. They fell under the pressure to commercialize a little bit their appearance on the web, on their website, and maybe do more sales conversions. I don't blame them, but here we are, 4.2 reference manual, my version. I downloaded my Blender version 4.2 as a Windows installer, so I think it gets automatically updated 4.2, so it's not to the up to 4.3 updated release candidate. I don't like those. Well, if you're gonna build something, stick to the version until you're done, and then see if you need to port your project at some stage of development to a new tooling. And with the Blender, I got to the let's just get on the page with it. This is the manual. Okay, so sections, I think I got to editors, yes. So yeah, I was going through the step by step through the manual, not following the video tutorials. I find these better for presentation's sake. Then I can side by side work with the app itself and read the text, at least have a glimpse on the side here, track the keep a track on the progress. That's for the Blender. So we are not officially yet into the actual new knowledge acquisition. Just warming up. This is still warming up. And for Godot, where's my Godot? Right here. I know what I'll do. So you never used any sort of a utility for managing Windows desktops, workspaces on Linux or Windows. I sometimes, to keep the desktop clear, use these workspaces. This way, I just flick and have a clear overview of my work environment. And it's Windows key tab. Unfortunately, this doesn't work properly with the... Yeah. So if I try to switch with keyboard, I would Windows Alt, Control, Release tab. Am I in the... No, just... Can I not use mouse? Can I not use mouse for this? And it turned on the narrator. But at least I'm in this workspace just by keyboard. So let me figure out managing these flipping workspaces with just keyboard. Windows key tab, I got the overview. And now if I release Windows key, it will go out of this overview for workspaces. And if I hold Control, I can slide left and right. So if I release Windows and just keep Control, okay, so now I'm just holding Control button and I can see on top with cursor keys moving, and I hit space and am I in this workspace? Okay, so it's Godot. And if I want to switch back to the workspace with Blender, I engage the overview, Control, release Windows. So I'm just holding the Control button. And now I'm here. Again, I press the Windows key. I'm holding the... Okay, now I'm in this workspace. So what would be first? Not sure. I'm kind of more for Godot, for the sake of there is more interactivity to create there. But it's not that the Blender can't do fancy stuff. And what I need to do, I need to get my shortcut for Blender. This thing, to pin it like that. And also for the 2.8, I've done few tutorial projects, so it's good to have them available quickly, faster. So they're all pinned now here. I don't have a version number. That's sad. That's real sad. Uh, 3.6, I don't have any recent projects, so 2.8 and 4. I'll just match the sizes of these windows like this, and open this thing here, version 2.8 tutorial. That's nice, real nice. Play this. And in this, give me the splash screen. Okay, just for the sake that there's something moving. While I'm yapping. One more sound check. Oh, that's the blender. Okay. I was curious, what is the white thing here on top? Any suggestions what you'd like to see first, Blender Godot? What topic? Maybe I do side-by-side presentation challenge. For that sake, maybe I open this thing and run here the latest completed project. And where do I have a room, enough room to put this on the side, like this, and like this. No, you. Now it's a really busy presentation, and I can even get this game like this, a bit narrow, and have everything running. So I'll take my own advice. I'll go opposite direction of my comfort zone and go start with Blender in this stream. Cover some, I don't know, hour two chunks by 45 minutes hour. I'm also expecting to get disconnected by my ISP for a moment. Reconnect. That will break the video in two parts. What that means, it means that I close here this thing, hit the stream marker, yep, and continuing in Blender from the previous. And that means manual, going through the manual. I'll bring it up. Where be you? Here it is. Here be you, the manual. Like this. I will not go in super detail. This is still getting familiar with the Blender concepts and general concepts in the industry. Get acquainted with the conventions, terminology, naming. So we are all on the same page. For either if I in the next step follow some tutorial, I don't just take it as it is, so I can understand what the message, what the author meant to say. Also, the manual itself is explaining that it is for a specifics of a given part or concept in Blender. There is a more in-depth detail section for a given topic. And in the... Did I read through this? This is just a list. This is the first section for like intro for the chapter editors. And if I look at the here, the contents, editor has a few chapters. They're not super long. I might just go through all 3D viewport titles. Image editor, maybe even simpler UV. Scenes and objects. I will not waste time, spend too much time reflecting on past covered parts. Maybe just pull out some references to relate. But anyway, it would be good, let's say, since it's the main chapter is editors, Blender provides a number of different editors for displaying and modifying different aspects of data. An editor contains inside an area is contained, okay, I'll repeat. An editor is contained inside an area which determines its size and placement within the Blender window. Every area may contain any type of editor. So in this region with the animation here running, that is one area. We got couple areas here, a few areas. Below here is the timeline, then there's the node editor, this section, And here is the button to change the actual editor for a given area. In this case, the 3D view on the top area. This part of manual still actually explains the general Blender user interface, because it's altogether a very interactive application. Highly customizable, and it's good to know because of that, and all those controls are exposed for a beginner like me. I'm happy to know actually when I click something and then the change occurs, like if I change the editor here for the given area. What's this? And if I change back, what are the differences? What's the relation between one and the other? And that's why I read through this. And now I know. Switching the editors actually brings up a specific editor for a given task. So into the viewport. 3D viewport, introduction, region header. Is this just showing me the contents? Introduction. I'll just follow the next navigation. Link on the bottom, introduction. The 3D viewport is used to interact with 3D scenes for a variety of purposes, such as modeling, animating, texture painting, etc. Then it says a header region, which is this bit here. Which is this part, horizontal on top of the area. Object mode header. Header region for the 3D viewport. Contains various menus and controls based on current mode. Its items are split in 3 groups: mode and menus. Mode: the 3D viewport has several modes used for editing different kinds of data. For example, the default object mode would let you place a character in the scene. With pose mode, you would allow you to pose it. Modes, object mode. Let's have a look for a suggested pose that I don't have. Edit, sculpt, vertex, weight paint, texture paint, sculpt mode. Nothing specially changed for a sculpt mode. Let's have a look at the edit mode. So what's different if I change vertex paint? So the lower row changes. For example, texture paint, we got different layout of elements in the header, okay. The shortcut Control Tab brings up a pie menu for quick mode switching, okay. Similar to Shift Space, as if I remember properly, for the toolbar, quick tools. A view. This menu offers tools for navigating in 3D space. The other menus depend on the current mode. Object mode menu listed below. Object mode menus listed below. Select, add, object. Select contains area, contains tools for selecting. Add, Shift A, shortcut. contains a list of different object types that can be added to the scene. Object contains tools for operating an object, such as duplication. A subset of these tools can also be accessed by right-clicking in the 3D viewport. That would be for the given mode. Navigating 3D space. So if I would change object mode, I got the view, select, add an object. Okay, for this reason I'll go with a new file, new general. I don't need to save this. So if I want to add something, here is the list of objects. A surface, metaball, a mesh, cylinder, torus, or the famous donut. Can I move the torus? No, I've selected both of them. I click outside to deselect, and maybe just torus. Yeah, clicked on the side and select move, and I'll grab the, just so I get the white circle to freely move it in 3D while interacting with the mouse to a specific colored axis, red, green, blue. It's just moving it in 3D space in a given axis. Other axis movement is locked, so with interacting with the colored ones, it provides me better precision to place it in space along just one axis, while interacting with the circle is more like freestyling 3D space. Okay, got that covered. That would be our object mode view. And it said if I click outside here, let's say, and Shift A, is this list of different, okay, so this is add a Shift A, actually that's a directly shortcut for the add list of objects to add to a in 3D space. Object contains tools for operating an object, such as duplication. A subset of these tools can, okay, so if I right click in the viewport, can I right click on the object, shade smooth? I got these options, and here is this the same object? If I select object and transform set origin, doesn't look completely the same. We can see that the right clicking in the viewport doesn't have transformations like the clicking on the object menu. Transform controls. Transform orientation, used to change the transform orientation, which affects the rotation of the transform gizmo. Transform controls. So this is here. Global, local, normal, gimbal. Transform orientation, gimbal, align each axis to the Euler rotation axis as used for input. As used for input. Okay, cursor parent. Okay. Global, local. So if I select the transforms to local, what would happen? Local to what? Not super sure. Maybe that would be better demonstrated mainly if I'm scaling, using a scale, and the transformation orientation is set on local. Scaling, doing it locally. Scaling, doing it under global. Maybe even this won't reflect, actually demonstrate what it says. Scaling just along a selected axis. And okay. But it is a relational probably concept. As handling and editing in 3D complex objects, we need to understand the relations between points, other objects, maybe even just a given specific face of the object. For example, select might have a mode. Here are the mode for select tool. Which part of the object even this cube is here like this, maybe I could just select one part of this, like a face, just one of the faces. Where would I find that? Local, normal, gimbal. Well, let's not get ahead. Point pivot, used to change the pivot point, affects the location of transform gizmo. Okay, so I don't, it's not that I just perform a rotation from the center of the object. Maybe I can change the pivot point. I can move the gizmo. Pivot point, that is, where is that? Transform controls. So are these gimbal? Pivot point, transform controls. Oh, so it's the next one. Okay, transform pivot point. And can I move the pivot point? Can I change that one? Maybe I can change the gizmo position and now select back. No, it's just the cursor. Cursor means something else. So how would I select the pivot point? Well, I guess it's too early still. Snapping, okay, proportional editing, smooth transform, display and shading. So these tools in that list are gimbal, pivot point, snapping, proportional editing. Then we have the rendering, display and shading, object type visibility, change which types of objects are visible, selectable in 3D view space. So visibility, my mouse is quite large, but it's better for the efficiency for presentation, so I'll keep it like this. Selectability and visibility, mesh curve, meta, hair curves, grease pencil, okay, they're all visible. Mesh, curve, a surface, meta text, point cloud, volume, lattice, okay, viewport gizmos, change how gizmos are displayed. Gizmos is this, yeah, the default, and there's a drop down menu, global, local, normal, gimbal, cool, overlays, toggle X-ray, okay, we can see through them, they're semi-transparent, renderings, change the rendering, viewport shading, method to display shade objects in the 3D view, material preview, and the viewport shading, render display render preview. So this would be a preview of a result of the rendered scene. Good to know. Viewport overlays, viewport gizmos. Change how overlays are displayed in the 3D view with the viewport overlays. Make the whole scene transparent with the X-ray. Viewport shading. Change the shading of the 3D viewport. Toolbar region contains tools dependent on the current mode, for example, modeling tools in edit mode, brush tools in sculpt mode. See tools for more information, sidebar region, and that would be this thing here on the sidebar is hiding here. Would be this thing, which is shortcut N, and tools over here. And if I change from mode to mode, let's say I go to sculpt mode, and we get here tools for sculpting. And if I do this, can I remember that there was a method to zoom in, a shortcut to zoom in the tools. In the object mode, what was the method to zoom in? Okay, like middle mouse button and holding control on keyboard and middle mouse button, I can enlarge the tools, how they appear. So for example, with the sculpt tools showing, you can actually see how many of them are there, and it's possible to scroll with the mouse wheel through all of them. And for the reference, we got also tools here on the sidebar for a given mode in the 3D view, vertex paint, texture paint, tool, brushes, that would be this thing here. So brushes, active tool, draw, brush settings, workspace options, soften, brushes, brush settings, workspace, annotate, a mask tool, and the tabs in the sidebar. Cool. Next, startup scene. After closing the splash screen, the startup scene is displayed in the 3D viewport. If no other blend file was loaded, the startup scene can be customized. Okay. Elements. Cube. Light. The set of concentric black circles is a light source. The set of concentric light circles is a light source illuminating the cube. Where would I see the set of light? Oh, it's this thing. So this will be the given aforementioned light source in the scene, default scene. So this is the default light given here, and it is also already an instance of an object. And if I try to change it, like rotate it, move, rotate, I can grow it. Is this growing? Can I change somehow the light effect so it's orthogonal to the scene? So how would I, for example, change the direction of this light? Or maybe if I grow it real big, does this have an impact? No. I can't move it, but let's keep going with this. Let's experimentation right away. And the camera, which is a pyramid, so this is a industry standard camera. Can I move the camera? Yes. Camera defines the resulting rendering look of a scene in a final rendering. If I would click here, renderer, and just a preview. Where would I see a preview? Let's say object mode, no. Preview period. Do I have here a render preview? Object mode, object mode, object mode. Why can't I change object mode? Deselect. Select none. Wire combined. It is also possible to camera view. Okay, this will be the camera view. If I click here, at least numpad 0, we can see what would be rendered at the end, how the scene is framed for export. Depending on what's the project about. What project am I building? Animation. The camera defines what is rendered in the end to the viewer, whoever is watching the resulting, the exported result, and depending which media, whether it's the animation or just a flat image, static image, or the whole scene, exporting the whole scene. 3D cursor. The 3D cursor, a cross with a red and white circle, determines where newly added objects are placed and can also serve as a transformation pivot point. So here we got this thing. called cursor, which is here on the toolbar. And if I try, I can move it. So this determines where the next object would be when I place it. Can I move the cursor? How one moves the cursor? Drag to transform. It might appear, so I need to position the camera editor, like what I'm seeing with the mouse. And cursor, it appears as I transform it, dragging it around. It's always laying in let's call it its own 2D plane. So this is how I would position it. Placing it along, but it also shows axis on its own that hint a direction, orientation for a next object that would be added. So it's a bit tilted. Can I transform his? Okay, so now I've set it to its snap to. Can I snap it? Can I turn it more? Cut it orthogonal? Almost, but not yet orthogonal. So if I can I transform it? Rotate it? No, the rotation doesn't work on cursor. What will be the transforms for the cursor? I just swing it around. And next object I add would be aligned in this scene like the cursor axis show. By placing a cube. No, actually no. The cube is sitting in the space orthogonally. I thought the cursor would hint the orientation for the next object instance here. Select, move, freestyle this cube like this, scale it, freestyle scaling, tiny cube. Can I be even more? Like this. Hide it inside here. And jump to the camera view. Okay, we see they're sitting in there. Okay. So for example, if I'm following a tutorial, I wouldn't be playful with this. Maybe I would just follow blindly a given instructions to tutorial and miss having fun like this, making my own thing. Grid floor. The gray lines forming a floor mark the zero height of the world. The red and green line are the axis of the world coordinate system. They meet at the world origin, which is also where the origin of the cube is located. The grid floor settings are in the viewport overlay popover. The grid floor settings are in the viewport overlays popover. Okay, viewport overlays. It is this thing. So hide these overlays. Okay, clicking on it. modify the select everything. Make sure that nothing's selected. Control A and check here objects extra world origin, opacity, floor. Okay, don't show floor. Subdivision scale. Okay, I can change the floor scales. Okay, 1 subdivisions. Do we need subdivisions? No. Can I edit that and that? Undo? No. Okay. The cursor grid floor. Okay, text info. The top left corner of the viewport shows various bits of information. See viewport overlay details. Top left. Okay, it's this camera perspective. This text here. Object modes next. Going even deeper with this. Object modes. Modes allow editing different aspects of objects, while object mode allows you to position, rotate, scale them. Edit mode allows changing their geometry. Pose mode allows posing them and so on. What is the pose mode? What's he talking about? Where is the pose mode? Object mode, edit mode, sculpt, vertex. Wait, where is that pose mode? Is that something legacy? You can change the current mode using mode selector in the 3D viewport header. Which modes are available depends on the object's type. Okay, so we don't have a pose mode because there is no object selected. But if I select 2 objects with a shift, no pose mode. Apart from using the selector, you can also press Ctrl Tab to bring up my menu around the cursor for faster access. If the selected object is an armature, this shortcut will instead switch between object mode and pose mode. Ctrl Tab. So what's going on here? Ctrl Tab. Okay, it brings me the circular menu, spread menu of the object mode. Not wait, paint, object mode, Control Tab. Okay. Pressing Tab will toggle edit mode for objects that supported. So if I press Tab, it will select it selected the object. If I click outside, edit mode. If I select the torus, press Tab, select the tiny cube, press Tab. This is edit mode, and we have here more tools. Tools change to insert faces, bevel, loop cut, knife, poly build, spin, smooth, edge slide, shrink fatten, shear, rip region. But I will go select this thing, not in the edit mode but object mode. Select this thing. Okay. So how would I, if I was having selected this one and I'm in the edit mode, Okay, I just deselected to go out of the edit mode, so pressing tab in and out the edit mode. I'm out. This select mode, object mode. I select this one, go to edit with a press of a tab, transforms, measure, bevel. How does this bevel thing work? First I will move this thing away a little bit. Disable the edit mode. And move my thing. Is it move? No, M. What's the shortcut? Move G. Okay, shift. Okay, it's shift spacebar or G. So it's a G. So shift spacebar, shift G. GG. Okay. And I freestyle move it somewhere. Oh, it's casting shadow now. Okay, this is interesting. I'm casting a shadow to my torus down there, or blocking the light. Viewport shading, wireframe, shading on, off. Full. Okay, so I'll change here the wireframe or the solid. And I want to move this thing a little bit further away. Maybe can go down. So it's above the ground, but is it above ground? Yeah. It might be little bit protruding through the ground or floor. And let's check the bevel. Control B. And I've got the so it's activated right away, and the beveling works like. Can I rotate? No. Thought I can get a better view into it. So this transformation would get applied if I click left mouse button. Yeah, now that happened to it. This is beveled cube, but like imploding bevel, not extruding. If I hit Ctrl G again, no, that's group. It was the shortcut. Oh, Ctrl B. And the other way. Wow, this is beveling. I thought it would be just maybe like it shows here on the tool preview itself. I like this all together, doing this way so far, because I can right away. I'm free to experiment alongside the manual. Modes can affect many things in Blender. Each mode changes the header and toolbar to show unique set of menus. Modes can completely change the look of the viewport. Weight paint mode will shade the object to show its vertex weights, which are not normally visible. So we are in the modes section, object modes. So so from editors, which is the parent chapter here, we are in the 3D viewport editor and in the object modes. This is editor mode, weight paint, And here is the brush tool selected. What does this do? I'm doing something to it. So I enable the sidebar and check the tool. Active tool is draw, and here I can see actually a preview of kind of what I'm doing. Drawing, 3 steps. What is fake? Okay, data information about that. Enable modes, weight paint tool, blur, average, smear. And what's here in the top, in the header for this given mode, I got options, lighten, mix, multiply, subtract. The strength these are the infos for given tool. A stroke, fall off, cursor, display cursor, okay. And what are these? XYZ, mirror vertex, we'll get to that later. So did I change my tool? How would I change the pattern that I'm painting with? But if I go out of the weight tool, that's actually not a visual representation. I'm not sure what I'm painting. What I'm waiting. It's mentioned here, modes can completely change the look. Each mode headers, different set of menus have available. Modes can affect other editors. For example, the UV editor can only be used if the 3D viewport is in edit mode. In the properties editor too, certain buttons and panels can only be used in certain modes. Object mode list, object mode, edit mode, sculpt. So what do? A mesh only mode dedicated to vertex group weighting. What should that mean? An armature only mode dedicated to posing. A grease pencil only mode dedicated to creating grease pencil strokes. Particle edit. Note, the cursor becomes a brush in paint and sculpt modes. Is there a paint? Not here. We will not go into any more details about mode usages here because they are dealt with in their own section. Switching objects. If you enter a mode such as weight paint tool for an object and then select another object, Blender will typically switch back to object mode. This means that if you want to weight paint the other object too, you have to enter the mode on a second time. So I understand. There's a way of avoiding this. Once you enter a mode, the outliner will show a dot next to other objects that also support it. Okay. Multi-object editing. Edit mode and pose mode let you work with multiple objects even more easily than described above. How to bring the other additional objects into a mode, selected mode. Okay, navigating. Navigation gizmo and so on. Let's see, let's go through it. Introduction. To be able to work in the three-dimensional space that Blender uses, you must be able to change your viewport. as well as the viewing direction of the scene. While we will describe the 3D viewport editor, most of the other editors have similar functions. For example, it is possible to pan and zoom in the image editor. Some navigation tools require a middle mouse button or numpad. Navigation gizmo. Navigation gizmo can be found in the top right. Okay, that's the color thing. The orbit gizmo at the top shows the current orientation of the view. Dragging it with left mouse button will orbit the view. The orbit gizmo, is this these things here? Is this the orbit? Or is the circle altogether? Use the preset viewport. Okay, I'm rotating. So, okay, so it doesn't do anything individually, it's like a sphere, 3D sphere for the whole viewport. And mouse wheel to zoom. Or middle mouse button over there, but it's good to quickly switch between dragging it, clicking any of the axis labels will align. Okay, so align to this axis, y, x, z. Is this a view from the above? Yeah. X on the side. So this is looking from the side. Y, change around from below. From top, below. Is this from below? Top. Oh, it goes 90 degrees. Okay, it flips, goes through them. If I click Z, is this flicking between top and bottom? Yes. Okay. The 4 buttons below are the orbit gizmo do the following. Zoom the 3D viewport. Zoom in and out while I'm holding it. So I'm holding left mouse button on the magnifier icon. Hand, move the view. Okay, I'm moving the view, similar to shift middle mouse button. Camera, switch to camera, lock, enable navigation within the camera view, lock on, lock off. Okay, toggle the projection, toggle lock camera view in camera view. Navigation, orbit, where am I in the, actually now in the manual? I'm in the navigation. Okay, that was just the introduction previously. Rotate the viewport around the point of interest by clicking and dragging middle mouse button. Okay, this is the basics. Roll, and holding and dragging. Okay, alt. So these are in detail shortcuts how to perform things like goes out of the camera view. If I hold alt and middle mouse button, if I click mouse button rotation, and let's say I'm close to this red line axis, and I click middle mouse button, my view moves aligned with, but there is also a gesture I've just done. So if I freestyle it with middle mouse button and now click Alt and middle mouse button, so just a single click with mouse button, oh, okay, it did change, flips around, but snapping, let's say snapping to a okay. Good to know that that's available. Holding Alt and dragging in certain directions will align the view to an axis. Dragging with mouse button and then holding Alt will perform an orbit while also snapping. Okay. So there's a difference whether I start if I start the gesture I start the gesture like now, first clicking mouse button and then Alt. It's a snapping movement, but if I first hold Alt and then mouse button, then I click the mouse button to confirm what I'm doing, and shift middle mouse button I drag along the view. Roll. Rotate the viewport camera around its viewing direction in 15 degrees, discrete steps by default. See rotation angle. Numpad 4, numpad 6. So what's rolling? What would be rolling? Shift 4 and 6. Okay, that is rolling. I'm rolling around. And right mouse button cancels the operation. To reset the roll, you can first align the view to the global axis using numpad 3 and then orbit to get back the regular perspective. So, numeric keypad does these things. They're like a navigational keys. If I press roll with 4 and press 3, do I know where am I? Okay, this looks like I'm flat along the ground. 3, 1, 3, 1. Pressing 2, I'm rotating along the Z, let's say, Y and Z, as we can see on the gizmo. Opposite is numerical keypad 8 key, the other rotating the opposite way. Diagonal across, if the numeric keypads keys are laid out as a directional layout. F7, 7 numpad key 7, one press does only one operation, and if I repeatedly press it does nothing, so it's a preset. If I press opposite 9, it flicks between two, bottom orthographic, top orthographic, so I'm looking from the top and from the bottom. That's numpad 9, 3 right, and only one step with it, right orthographic, 1 front, 5 front perspective. Okay, front and front orthographic front perspective. Okay. Oh, sorry. Oh, that was that long time ago. Kulvlog Dev on the Twitch. I was quite into this. I might just take a break. It's an hour of this. Can I make I'll just close this chapter and take a break from going through this. But I'll be here, just stand up, take a few steps back and forward. So to finish through this, I was going through the navigation part of the 3D viewport, the mode or the editor for in Blender. Zoom region. Zoom in out. Did I skip something? Roll, that was roll panning. Shift mouse button, control numpad. Okay, so shift and control moves the view top. Okay, zoom in and out. Control middle mouse button, wheel up, wheel. Okay, doing it with wheel or plus minus on numeric keyboard. Zoom region, shift B allows you to specify a rectangular region by dragging with left mouse button. Shift B. If I go into the Shift B and okay. That there is that indicator appears. Dolly view. In most cases it is sufficient to zoom the view to get a closer look to something. However, zooming only gets you up to the point of interest and no further. If you hit this point where zooming no longer works, you can instead dolly by holding Shift Control and dragging up or down with middle mouse button. This will move the point of interest and the view along with it. Okay, if I zoom in this guy here, like zoom so far into this guy, I'm in it, I'm inside to the center point. And if I now shift control and drag the middle mouse button, okay, and the right mouse button cancels it. Dolly changes orthographic views to perspective projection. Frame all changes the view set all you can so you can see all objects. Home. Okay, let's see. I press home. But my mouse needs to be in the Blender. If the mouse is not in the Blender window, even if the Blender application is full screen, shortcuts don't work. Now I'm pressing the num keys for the changing the view while the mouse is here on the outside of the editor. But if I bring mouse back into the editor, now the shortcuts work. Just to point that out. Frame selected. Frame all and frame selected. That would be numpad period. Okay. And now fly walk navigation. And I'll take a short break here. like always so far. Here we'll have a short break in this scene. And I'll be right back. Guess what? I'm back. Good thing, and what I love here is the fact that I like the pace. For me it feels more efficient pacing through this like this. I'm just checking also the compression, how harsh it is, how strong is it on the content. On the music. So if I'm now listening and I start talking, what I like in the OBS on Linux, these sidechain compression and some processes, triggers are more responsive on Linux than in Windows. If anybody's asking. And now continue with a little more Blender. I'll keep this, I will not go to tutorial. Maybe I'll just jump out of the navigation or a little bit faster go through it. You go quiet, you go back to full screen, not that this one, yeah. And then I can fade this thing in, like this. Where am I? Fly, walk, navigation. What's that thing? Standard navigation controls are sometimes limiting, especially for large environments, as architectural models. Example, in these cases, it may be preferable to use first-person controls instead. Blender offers two such alternative navigation methods, flying and walking. You can initiate either method from the viewport navigation menu. And if I come to Blender here, view, viewport, navigation, fly, walk. And I say walk. Now my mouse is, as I move the mouse without clicking, I'm actually already engaged in it. So how do I walk? Why is this, am I upside down? And I use the mouse keys. Okay, where is everything? I'm walking, but from the ground. Okay, I was below that. So this would be walking with mouse keys, cursor keys, and turning like a camera head with the mouse locked like that. How do I go out of this mode? Mouse click? Yeah, mouse click goes out. So, common use cases. Okay, and I'll disable that in view. navigation, fly, walk. Okay, I guess it's one time, just one time off. Let's keep going. Position camera can be a quick way to navigate a large scene. Common use of fly walk includes navigating, positioning a camera. When activated from a camera view, numpad 0, the camera will move along with you. Okay, recording a camera movement. You can record a path you take by entering camera view, enabling auto keying in the timeline, start animation playback, and finally activating fly walk navigation. Animation playback can't be controlled by fly walk navigation is active, so when you are done recording, you first need to exit the navigation. Left mouse button before you can stop playback. So it says recording camera movement. This can be interesting. You can record the path you take by entering a camera view, enable auto keying in timeline. So I go in camera view, go here in timeline, keying, active key set, insert keyframe. Can I get where would be the auto keying? Auto keying, okay, I enable this. And then start the animation playback and activating fly walk navigation. Okay, so I hit a playback, go to view, this will be interesting, and in navigation I enable walk navigation, and now I move the mouse to look around and walk. And I walk backwards. Can I strafe? And the keyframes, as the animation is going, it's jumping through the keyframes. And now I click left mouse button, and we have here playing the animation. I'm outside of walking, and keyframes are playing the camera. So if I export this with renderer, this will be the video resulting. Okay. Disable this, go to beginning, stop. If I go outside of camera, if I hit play, okay, we can see the camera running the animation. Camera's the animated bit. This is super cool to know. Right at the beginning. I stopped that. Cool. Recording camera movement, amazing. Very simple. Walk navigation. This navigation method behaves like a typical first-person game. Okay, use case, usage. WSAD works also on keyboard for walking, strafing. EQRF. When gravity is off, spacebar teleport to location at the cursor Wheel up, increase movement speed, okay. Speed up the movement temporarily, shift alt, okay. Fly navigation. Okay, okay. Very cool. Aligning. These options allow you to align and orient the view. Aligning, where are these options? Let's see. Oh, view align, okay, they're in the view. Align view. Right over here. Aligns the view to a certain location, a local axis of the active object. Align camera to view, to selected, center cursor, perspective, orthographic, modes, perspective, orthographic, numpad 5, yep. Perspective and orthographic. No perspective correction. Switching between perspectively corrected or orthographic. Options to toggle between two projections for the 3D viewport. Select perspective view, perspective orthographic, or use numpad P. Changing 5, numpad key 5. Changing the projection for a 3D viewport does not affect the way the scene will be rendered. Rendering is in perspective by default. Okay. If you need to create an orthographic rendering, select the camera. Go to Camera tab in Properties and set type in the Lens panel to orthographic. Okay, select camera, go to Camera tab in Properties. Properties editor and set type and lens. So is the camera selecting like this? And renderer, no. Camera, scene, world, collection. Where would I find it? Camera, I guess I need to select the camera, huh? Right here. Select tool, shortcut W, okay. I select camera and I got the properties here for camera. But the object, properties, tool, and what is it? Go to Camera tab in Properties, Editor and set type in the Lens. Properties, where would be the properties? So these are the properties, okay. That is the renderer. Tools, output, view, world, collection, object, camera, close transforms. So if I need to create orthographic render, select camera, go to Camera tab in Properties. So there is a camera. Okay, here is the camera properties. Type perspective, orthographic, panoramic. Okay, so we got the data object properties. Okay. Auto perspective, reference, camera lens, local view. Toggle local view. Numpad / global view shows all 3D objects in the scene. Local view isolates the selected objects so that they are the only ones visible. This is useful for working on objects that are obscured by others, or to speed up the viewport performance in heavy scenes. Local view is contextual, meaning that it can be set per 3D viewport. Okay. You can toggle between global and local by selecting the option from the view menu or using shortcut numpad /. So I have here camera selected, and if I hit the /, others are hidden. Disable, enable, select this thing. Okay, so I want to see the cube here. Going into it, nice. That's local, global, cool. Good to know. Remove from local view. Objects can be removed by selecting them. Okay, remove from local view operator. Remove from local view. View local view. Remove from local view. Alt numpad slash alt slash. Okay, so if I select two objects and go in the local view, I won't be seeing these, and if I want to remove it, how would I remove one of the objects? Okay, so I am now, this is local view enabled, so I select only the torus. Or actually I want to remove this thing, and it would be alt numpad slash or alt slash. Numpad. I can't put it back because it's outside. Okay, and go out. Okay, cool. That's good to know. Camera view. The camera view shows the current scene from the active camera's viewpoint. The camera view can be used to virtually compose shots and preview how the scene will look when rendered. The rendered image will contain everything within the dashed frame. Viewing the active camera. No, numpad 0, okay. So what if there are multiple cameras? Camera settings. While camera view, you can select the camera by clicking the dashed frame. All modes, menu, shortcut. This switches the view to the active camera, setting the active camera. Active camera left with a solid triangle above it. Okay. So control numpad, setting the active camera. View camera set so it's in the view cameras. View cameras, okay, cameras. Set active object as camera, active camera. Okay. This sets the current object as the active camera and switches the camera view. Another way of setting the active camera is through the Scene tab of the properties. Scene tab. A Scene tab. To render output your layer scene. Scene tab camera. Okay. Clear button string and set the text of the active button value camera. Animated camera switching. While a scene contains only one camera by default, it's possible to have multiple. You can then bind the cameras to specific time points in your animation to create jump cuts showing different viewpoints. Frame camera bounce centers the camera view inside the 3D viewport's screen area and resizes the view to fit within the area's bounds. Shortcut is home. Frame camera bounce centers the camera view inside the 3D viewport scene. So let's say I want to see this, and I press home. Or do I need to have, so if I press home now, no, centers the camera view inside the 3D viewport scene area and resizes the view to fit within area's bounds. Frame camera bounds. Move, home, camera is selected, and if I press home, okay, so it relates to the camera, okay. Deselect everything, numpad 0, go out, go in, select something. Camera bounce, home, wait. Home. What are these things here? So I can change this. Is this focal length, but I will disable it, undo it. Zoom camera 1:1. Zooms the view so the camera frame has the exact same size as the output resolution. This allows you to preview exactly how large objects will be in the rendered image animation. Camera positioning. There are several different ways to position camera in a scene. Some of them are explained below. The active camera might be any kind of object, meaning these actions can also be used to position and aim a light, for example. Align active camera to view. Control Alt numpad. Moves and rotates the camera so it perfectly matches your current viewport. Oh, that's what I was thinking about. So if I frame this and I want the active camera, I don't have the camera selected and I want this selected, and I want actually this for the result. Let's say light source from the left, these things here, and I move this guy opposite. What's the move? So why doesn't move work with this guy? Oh, I need to hold like this, move. Can I bring it towards me? Shift space bar, move, come over here. And now I want the camera to show this. I would do Control Alt numpad, Control Alt numpad 0, and this will be now the camera view. Camera bounce, home. Oh, can I go outside the camera? Numpad 0. And tell the camera to active camera frame this and control Alt numpad 0, camera bounce. Can I move it? can change that. This can be changed in the settings for the camera 0, but I want this thing to show like this. I'll move it a little bit down. Can I rotate it then? Like this? Not that, okay, like this. So if I go out, go to now this is good, great. Okay, mouse mute, mic mute. Doing here all the wrong things. That was good thing to get the idea when framing a resulting scene, how to get the camera to follow the view in the editor. Roll, pan, doll and track can be performed on the camera viewpoint. The menu view viewpoint lets you align the view direction to a specific axis. This can also be done using the navigation gizmo or the following keys. Okay, view regions. Clipping region allows you to define a clipping region to limit the 3D viewport display to a portion of 3D space. It can assist in the process of working with complex models on scenes. Once activated, you have to draw a rectangle with the mouse. Alt B, Alt B. Okay, so it means if I want to, if I would like to only see this guy, Alt B, I draw now this bit, and Alt mouse button again. Okay, like this. I see only that, and we are looking at this. And how is this disabled? Alt B disables it. Clipping. It reminds me of cropping the image, but this is something completely different. Slightly similar, but this is for editing. Render region allows you to limit rendering to a 2D rectangular area. If you're busy tweaking just a small part of the scene, it can be quite wasteful to have the whole viewport in render as shading mode or make full frame renders. So this feature lets you save time. You can define render regions in 2 different contexts. View region, render region. Control B, Control Alt B. Good. When I'm defining one while in camera view, it will apply not just to viewport but also to the final renderer. If you define one while not in camera view, it will only apply to the viewport. Contextual views. By default, the 3D viewports only show the scene from one viewpoint. By using quad views, you can see it in form. You can see it from multiple viewpoints at the same time, which gives you more context about changes you're making. Quad view. View area toggle quad view. Control Alt Q. Cool. So Control Alt Q. Nice. And I can manipulate in each one, get a better perspective onto specific detail. Are they synchronized? No, it allows me to customly do it. Control Q, close the quad. Okay. Quad view is different from splitting and aligning the views manually. In quad view, the 4 views are still part of a single 3D viewport, so they share same display options. Options, sidebar view, quad view, lock rotation. Okay. When disabled, makes it possible to orbit. Sync, zoom, pan. Cool. So if I go back here and again enable, bring the sidebar on and enable Control Alt Q and set the sync. View, is it view? Lock to 3D? No. View, is it tool? View lock. Lock rotation, zoom, sidebar view, quad view. Sidebar view. Where is the quad view? Oh, here it is. This section over here. lock rotation and sync zoom. So if I hit N, close the sidebar, whatever I do in here, but not in 3D. Okay, so if I in the orthographic projection, okay, I can't zoom. The zoom is synchronized. Zoom is in sync, but can't rotate orthographic. If I bring the sidebar in and disable lock for the orientation, now, okay, can I have the sync? Okay, it needs the lock rotation, and then the sync zoom is synchronizing zoom and pan is enabled. Interesting. Okay, 3D cursor. This is important to know about the 3D cursor. The 3D cursor is a point in space that has both a location and rotation. It is used for a number of purposes. So it's this thing here. This tiny friend here. It is a point of space with its location and rotation. It's used for a number of purposes. For example, it defines where newly added objects are placed. And can also be used to manually position and orient the transform gizmo, see pivot point and transform orientation. Some tools such as bend also use cursor placement. There are a few methods to position 3D cursor. Direct placement with a mouse, shift right mouse button, mode object edit and pose mode. Positioning the 3D cursor with two orthogonal views. The cursor tool offers the most flexibility. Simply select it in the toolbar and click a point in the scene with left mouse button to place it. In the tool settings you can choose how it should be oriented. By default it matches the view, but you can also make it match the surface normal of a piece of geometry. Transform orientation. Alternatively, you can press shift right mouse button with any tool selected. In this case, the 3D cursor will always be aligned to the view orientation. For accuracy, you should use two perpendicular orthogonal 3D viewports. In example, any combination of top, front and side. That way you can control the positioning along two axes in one view and determine the depth in the other. Sidebar, all modes. Sidebar region 3D cursor. The cursor can be positioned and oriented by editing the perspective in the sidebar. Okay. Selecting object mode, edit mode. This page discusses selection tools that are specific to the 3D viewpoint. The generic selection tools are described in the interface section. Okay, the 3D viewport has two keys that affect selection. Select by origin control. Selects objects by their origin rather than their geometry. Selection menu shows a menu in case There are multiple objects under the mouse cursor, making it easier to select the one you want. So what is the selection? Okay, this is the select box. And is that one? Any other select tools? Select by origin. Control. Selection box, the select. And alt selection menu. Okay, it shows alt. I click, cube, select menu, extend, cube torus. These keys can be combined to get a selection based on object origins. The mode-specific selection pages are listed below in different modes. Pose mode, particle controls. Next one. Check where am I now in the editors for 3D viewpoint. Oh, we got into the controls. Transform, pivot, snapping, proportional editing. Controls, transform orientation, transform orientation. Who doesn't want to know all this, huh? Transform orientation, object and edit modes, header, transform orientation. So in the header, transform orientation, align each axis to the Euler rotation, global. I'll switch to default one. The transform orientation determines the orientation of the object gizmo. Changing this orientation can make it easier to perform transforms in the direction you want. With the default global transformation orientation left, it's tricky to move the plane in direction it's facing, but with local, it's easy. So global, local. The orientation can also be changed temporarily while performing a hotkey-based transformation with axis locking. For example, if you first press G to start moving object, then X to lock the orientations, X-axis, and finally X second time you'll get a lock to an alternative orientation, the local orientation, if it was global previous and the global orientation otherwise. Orientations, global, align the transformation axis to the world space. The world axes are shown by the navigation gizmo. Local, align the transformation axis to the active object's orientation. Normal, in edit mode, orient the transformation axis so that the z-axis of the gizmo matches the average normal. Gimbal, orient the transformation axis to visualize the workings of the object's rotation mode. It's specifically useful for the Euler modes, where the object is rotated one axis at a time. The rotation axes don't stay perpendicular to each other and might even overlap, the phenomenon known as gimbal lock. That complicates animation. View, align the transformation axis to the view, meaning they change as you orbit. align the transformations by the cursor. Parent, align the transformation axis to the parent. Okay, let's see in the examples. Default cube with global transformation orientation selected. Rotated cube with global orientation. Local orientation gizmo matches the object's orientation. Normal in edit mode, gimbal orientation, and view transform orientation. Parent transformation orientation. Cube parented to rotate, rotated empty. Custom orientations, header transform. You can define custom, okay. Create orientation, to create custom orientation, okay. Delete orientation, pivot point. Object mode and edit mode. Pivot point, see here. I see it. The pivot point determines the location of the object gizmo. Changing this location can make it easier to perform transformations around the point you want. With the default median point, pivot point on the left image, it's tricky to bring the second wheel spoke into place. But with 3D cursor right, it's easy. The pivot point can be changed using a selector in 3D viewport header. Pivot point types. Oh, now we even have a subsection for the pivot points in the controls. So here in the controls, we are in the pivot point section. Bounding box center. In this point, the pivot point lies at the center of the bounding box. Differences between bounding box center and median point. In edit mode, the pivot point becomes the center of bounding box around the selected mesh. The effects of rotation in different mesh selection modes. The pivot point is shown by yellow circle. Median point may again give a different result. Difference between bounding box center and median point right. We get something showing here and here on the right. 3D cursor. Pivot point places the pivot point at the location of 3D cursor. The image below shows the difference between rotating an object around the 3D cursor left and rotating it around the median point right. Individual origins. Pivot point, individual origins. While the other pivot point modes transform the whole section around one point, individual origins transforms each item around itself. Each object gets transformed around its origin. So if I would, let's say, select these guys and say for the pivot point individual origins and say rotation, and I want to rotate them this way, yeah, but they seem appear like in sync. Okay, and then maybe turn them like this. Their own, so it's okay, but if I change medium point and do similar, they're rotated like this. Okay, okay. This is good to understand. And if I would say 3D cursor, okay, so we select 3D cursor and rotate, they will be rotated with the 3D cursor in mind. Active element, individual origins, medium point. That's like something calculated in between them. Okay. I like when I can test the use case. In edit mode, each selected element is transformed around its own center point. Okay, there is also edit mode. But in edit mode, what would be going on if I would now hit transformations? Okay, so all points are selected, so it works for all of them. And if I would in edit mode start being, let's say, like this, start doing these things. Oh, so that they selected that point, so it's locked in place while I'm moving the rest. I'll undo that. Medium point. Okay, I've just changed that, tested that. In edit mode, active element, so this is a pivot point. Snapping. Snapping, okay, snapping is in the 3D view space editor. Object mode, snapping. Okay, how to snap. Snap base. Determines which point in geometry is the snap base that will snap to the target. Snapping using the origin, media center closest example, active example, median example. What's next? Snap target. Determines the target which the selection will be snapped to. Snaps to grid points. I will skip this, but it's quite elaborate here. Proportional editing. Am I past an hour in this segment? Where are we? Where am I in the navigation? I'm okay at the controls, end of the controls. Display, how much of that there is? Toolbar. Viewpoint renderer, image renderer. Proportional editing. So this was the last in the controls, and I was going through 3D viewport in the editors. Well, I actually kind of speedrun to go for this day through all the 3D viewport editor stuff. Proportional editing is a way of transforming selected elements while also affecting the nearby unselected elements. The farther away on an unselected element is, the less it will be affected by, hence proportional. So it's in the object and edit mode, proportional editing. Over here, mode, okay, this is the mode, smooth sphere, proportional, enable, it's enabled, disabled, so it can be enabled, disabled, like snapping, enabled, disabled, and select the mode. That's proportional editing controls. Enable, disable it. 0 shortcut hotkey on the keyboard. Proportional size. You can increase or decrease the radius of a tool's influence during a transform operation. Fall off. So if I select just this guy, and if I would move it, no, just move this guy. Oh, there is a proportion. Okay, so if I disable this and just move this guy, so when the proportional editing is selected, it affects, even now when I'm moving, it affects also the cube. So if I put this back here close and hit move again, it a little bit affects the other two objects. They're moving, but it's proportional. So if I change the mode to maybe random and go moving it around, how random would it get? I was hoping maybe even more erratic, so, but it should be disabled if I just want to move one single object. And if I want to influence other objects, so proportional editing should be enabled. How would that work? Let's say in edit mode for this guy. Okay, so in edit mode it already remembers my previous selection, and I want it to be a select, or no, I will just select one. And I select only one, this one, and maybe hit proportional and random, and now see if I can move this transform. Okay, it supports a lot of things, so if I see if I can move this. Okay, randomly affects the surface like this, and if I change to a inverse square, that affects it like this. And if I would say sphere, but that was a scaling. Where would be a rotation? If I try to rotate like this, and maybe along this line. That's good to know. This is very interesting for to proportionally edit something. Like example, vertices I mesh, so they kind of interact, but the distance is maybe not quite well defined. And I'm back. Okay, I'm back again to a single point. So if I enable it again, maybe I can move it and rotate it like this to kind of correct it, fake correction. Okay. And if I go out of the edit mode, select just this, move it, freestyle it, rotation. What is rotation shortcut? R. Okay, R it. How would I change the rotation axis? Control. Not quite sure, not super sure. I think this should be like this about for the music. So what define? Okay, one R, pressing again R gives me more freestyle around a certain or uncertain pivot point. That's good. This is good to know. Object mode. Proportional editing is typically used in edit mode, but it can also be used in object mode. Edit mode, I've just been through that. Options, connected only, rather than using a radius only. The proportional follow spreads via connected geometry. Difference between having a projected from view, disabled left and enabled right. So where are these modes? Also smooth sphere. Okay, so if I jump up to this part, edit mode, example, landscape obtained via proportional editing. The image below shows a final renderer of a low poly landscape obtained by moving up the vertices of a triangulated grid with proportional editing enabled. Display, object type visibility, viewport gizmos, viewport overlay, viewport shading. Object type visibility, header, view object types, so view. Oh, that's the eye, that is the eye, mesh curve, okay, mesh. No meshes, those are meshes. Curves, we don't have curves. This popover lets you control visibility, okay, viewport gizmos. Clicking the icon toggles all gizmos in 3D viewport. The drop-down button displays a popover with more detailed settings, object gizmos. So I have, okay, so for selected object I have gizmos on and I click off, they are hidden. And in popover have more, the default. Okay, so what would I control with the default? Let's say move. rotate, scale. Okay, so the default viewport gizmos empty, image, force field, size, look at lens. So what does it mean? Force field, show the gizmo to adjust the force field. Okay, image, show the gizmo to adjust the image. Okay, I think I got it. So like select which ones you want or don't want for a given workspace, or the edit mode, or the viewport, or editor. Viewport overlays. Overlays and viewport general. The following options are always present. Depending on the current object interaction mode, there may be a second button. Okay, grid, floor, text, statistics, camera guide, overlays, geometry, display mesh edges similar to wireframe shading, fade inactive, geometry, face orientation, motion tracking, mesh edit mode, overlays, shading, vertex group, mesh analysis, normals. There is quite a few. Well, overlays probably have all the properties available for different, not all available for, it has a different properties in different modes and tools, so they hold quite a lot of info. So if I change I don't know, edit mode, overlays, I disable this, and for overlays, motion tracking, geometry, extras, geometry, color opacity, origins, outline selected, extras, no bones here. Well, like shown previously, floor, viewport shading. Okay, this is interesting. To optimize the performance in the editor, viewport shading, it's these things here that are not visible at the moment. Object mode, now we can see the viewport shading here. I get it to solid. This is now showing material, and this is renderer preview. So Blender offers different shading modes for helping with different tasks. For example, solid shading is well suited for modeling. Rendered is useful for setting up lighting. Radio buttons let you change. Additional options are wire color, wireframe, only displays the edges wireframes, background, how the background is displayed in 3D viewport, theme, world, use the color from the world's viewport, display options, select the custom color for the background in 3D viewport, X-ray, outline, solid, workbench rendering engine. This mode utilizes workbench render engine to render the 3D viewport. It shows solid geometry but uses simplified shading and lighting without the use of shader nodes. Solid mode is good for modeling and sculpting. Lighting, how light is computed. Flat, do not calculate any lighting. The base color of the scene will be rendered. Studio, use studio lights to light the objects. The studio lights can be configured in preferences. Studio lights can follow the camera or be fixed. When fixed, the angle of the lights can be adjusted. World space lighting uses world space lighting so the lights do not follow the view. Rotation, the rotation of the studio lights on the z-axis. Math cap, use material capture to light the objects in the scene. Material capture can be flipped horizontally. Custom matte caps color. So what's going on with the renderer? Wireframe and the drop down options. Scene lights, world lights, theme, object random. Wire color random, theme, render path combined, emission environment, ambient transparent, general transparent, ambient occlusion. Oh, shadow. Oh, emission. Render path, combined. Compositor, camera always, camera disabled. Material, solid, wire, X-ray, no. Yes, outline, yes, no. Outline. Background theme world random for the, okay, random wireframe. Nice, interesting. Theme. Background world viewport. Can define this over here. This is interesting. Lighter background to contrast the wireframe for the objects, like this. Theme, back to theme. That's for the, what is this? Toggle X-ray, no X-ray. Go to X-ray, I don't need it. Wireframe, okay. And for this, so this is solid. What is this? Is this material or what? What's this shader? Solid mode. So options in the solid mode. Rotation, material, flat, material, studio. Oh, that's lighting. Wire color random. But I'm not seeing it. Material, color, object. Attribute, texture, random. Okay, color, random, color. So single, material, object, random, texture, random. Options, backface culling. Use backface culling to hide the backside of faces. Outline, specular lighting. No, on, off, specular, on, outline. There is an outline, no outline. Outline in, depth of field. Cavity. Oh. Oh, now we are talking. Backface culling. this was interesting. Let me see what else we have. Background calling. Use backface calling to hide backsides of faces. Render the scene transparent. Shadow. Cavity. Highlight ridges and valleys in the scene geometry. Type. Method how to calculate the cavity. World, more precise but slower. Fast but doesn't take the size of the ridges and valleys into account. Both. Ridge, control the visibility of ridges. Valley, control the valley settings. Material preview. Okay, good to have that. Toolbar. So where am I now? Where am I in the toolbar? And again we have a few more subsections, and I said I'll finish the 3D viewport this time. Okay, let's keep going then. The toolbar contains a list of tools. Links to each mode's toolbar are listed below. Edit mode, object mode. So each mode has their own toolbar. Grease pencil, object mode, edit text. So is there a grease pencil here? Do we have a edit mode grease pencil? Where is it? Or am I just imagining being completely ignorant? Who's got the grease pencil? Link to each toolbar contains a list of tools. Object mode, edit mode, grease pencil. Is that an extension or built-in? Where would I find a grease pencil thingy? Modeling, sculpture, painting, shading, geometry nodes, scripting. Object mode. Orientation, image, texture. Non-linear animation, outliners. File, asset preferences. We'll see yet about that. Toolbar, measure. Did I skip something? Measuring. Toolbar, measure. Where is that? Okay, here it is. Thank you. Usage. Add cube. What's this? Add cube. Huh? Add cube. Where is this tool? Toolbar, add cube. Toolbar, add cube. Oh, here it is. Add cube. Snapping, Alt Shift. Some of the shortcuts. Tool settings. Okay. Initial depth from the screen into the scene used when placing the object. So let's say this is the tool settings for add cube. Let's elaborate a little bit about that. So go a little bit away from here. Let's have it in midway, the existing elements and camera. So add cube has a few more things, but it's also add cone and just not add cube. I can add anything. And that tool selected. There's in the header here, surface, cursor plane, the position orientation. Oh, there's a projection here in the scene. Orientation, surface, default, snap to geometry, default, and what's this? And if I bring out the side bar and click on the tool, add active, add cube, we get similar or the same options like in the header. Surface, default, options, transform. Now, curious what would the transforms do for adding cube, base, origin, center, fixed, free, aspect free, center. So how would I add a cube like this? Projection. Oh, so I lay the base and then extrude, select the height. And where is the width? When would I select the width? Oh, it's as I proportionally. So the width is set it on the ground, hold mouse button to drag, that sets the two-dimensional base dimensions, I guess X and Y, and then Z projected upwards along the Z axis, and that would, this is no more a cube but something custom. How about what's the icosphere? What would that be? Add sphere to mesh interactively. Add sphere to mesh interactively. What is the difference? Ico and UV sphere. Add a cylinder. Oh, don't we have also add a torus? Click on it, click, hold. Okay, if I release it, drops, closes. This thing. Okay, it works like that. If I hold shift, it's locked, aspect ratio is locked. If I freestyle it, I can get ovular, spherical, like, and it would work like that. Cool. We get a baseball thingy. How to, oh, this is a modify command. Sitting here, camera is here, so if I press the camera view, I got this in the view. If I press N and zoom into this, okay, now I'm zooming the, okay, my camera is locked to the view it's following, so I'm framing with zoom out, reveal the okay, this could be interesting. If I unlock this, then I can zoom like this. Nice. Go out of the camera. Okay. Back to selector. This was the add cube tool, add cone. Okay. A surface orientation. Okay, I got it. This is how to put it in the scene. Base filled typeset, how the circle at the base will be filled triangle. Okay. Well, putting different tool to place an object. So this is just objects. A UV sphere. Okay, let's see. The UV sphere mesh object. First define the base. Is this a UV sphere? Collection sphere. And if I... yeah, this was an UV sphere. Okay. Doesn't tell us what exactly is. But different UV and just geometry or mesh, those that terminology defines what are, I think it defines how are the points in that object, how they keep a relation, because then the different modifications work differently on different geometry elements, points, faces, lines, proportions, and so on. Interactive points inside them. Icosphere. Okay. Sidebar. Shows transform settings of the active object item. Okay, so sidebar, a sidebar item shows transform options. Okay. Tool shows setting for the active tool and workspace. A view panel lets you change other settings regarding the 3D viewpoint. Focal length. Control the focal length of the 3D viewport camera. So our also 3D view, not just the camera here. A view, we have also the global or the inbuilt application camera. And where would that be? Local camera, view, focal length. It's this thing. And it's set around 50, I think. Was it 50? I hit undo. Or maybe reset to default. Right click. And local camera. Enable, disable. Render region. Okay. Local camera pass part out. Show camera passport out. View in camera view. Render region. View lock. Lock to object, lock to 3D cursor, lock camera to view. When looking through a camera, the camera becomes glued to view and will follow it around as you navigate. The camera frame be outlined with a red dashed line. So, as I understand, I didn't change the camera. But it's for the view. Lock to camera, lock to this. Okay. Now they are decoupled. 3D cursor. Okay. So I guess the sidebar's view holds also the properties for the cursor. So they will now change as I move it. It's only one unique. The collection panel shows a list of collections and can be used to control their visibility. Local collections hide in viewport, shows or hides the collection annotations. Viewport renderer. Okay, now I'll go to completely through the 3D viewport editor, and that means short break now. Again, going to our trusty C64 CDAMP Winamp enabled player. Next track. I like when music is not quiet and it's not good when it's loud. Let's see how it's balanced for these sections when I talk over. I'll actually, as the intermission is running now, I'll switch to this screen. Unfortunately for the moment without this thing, and it takes also this thing. So this is what the scene takes. So intermission running, and coming up next will be the viewport renderer. Okay, this is the Xmas music that I'll hit rating for this playlist, and I give it 2 stars and hit the next track. Sometimes, well, you can. Let's go workout, short break, intermission workout. I'm leaning with my hands at the seat, on the seat, and going feet on the floor. Go down and raise myself with hands, and even push my middle body up and on the fingertips of the feet. Raise up, go down, feet to the floor, heels to the floor, and then on the hands go down, up, and there you go. Work out together. Only here. I was not mute. That's not nice. And somehow the Winamp was muted all the way. Did I press some key shortcut? I don't have a shortcut for that. Or is it a scene setting? Anyway, going to the breaks over, guys. Going to full screen. Let's do it. Like this. Sometimes I forget to unmute the mic, and that's very rude. And nobody says anything. So here is where we at. The viewport renderer. Lets you create quick preview renders from the current viewpoint rather than from the active camera, as would be the case with a regular renderer. You can use viewport renderer to render both images and animations. Below is a comparison between the viewport renderer and a final renderer using the cycles renderer. Viewport renderer using solid mode, viewport renderer using material preview, and full renderer. Viewport rendering only works on the workbench and EEVEE rendering engines. It's not supported for cycles. Disable overlays to get a renderer without clutter like rigs, empties, and so on. Settings for the most part. Viewport renderer uses the current viewport settings. Some settings are located in the properties of the renderer engine that is used to render the view. Solid mode uses the renderer settings for workbench. Off workbench, material preview mode uses the renderer settings of EV. Okay. Additionally, some output settings are used to resolution, aspect, output path, and file format. So rendering, activating a viewport render will render from the current active view. This means that if you are not in an active camera view, a virtual camera view is to match the current perspective. To get an image from the camera point of view, enter the active camera view with numpad 0. As with a normal renderer, you can abort it with escape. So what I need to double check here is actually for the file open recent, recover, save, export. I want to find now where was I exporting? What is my export directory? Go out here and browse the file system here. And is it no, not pictures, but is it temporary? Did I get here exports? Where did I get the exports for the, like, where is it in temp? No, in pictures. Where was my video from the tutorial being exported? And also a first video edit with Blender. My blenders, what's going on? Oh, these are the files. And where would I find? Is it in videos? Blender export, is that the one? Oh, this is the project. Was it on desktop? No, it's not on desktop. Dates, show me dates, view, details, the date. Nothing recent. Is it here? Right, that's really interesting. Where is my? Oh, I got two temp. Well, I got the temp and temps. Oh, here they are in the 3-letter temp folder. So this is the renderer of the arcade retrowave stuff, and the this is not the right version exported. Where is the proper version exported? So I'm just double checking. Was I exporting, creating any rendered images without knowing? So for the viewport rendering, how this work? Viewport rendering lets you create a quick preview. You can use a viewport renderer to render both images and animation. Below is comparison. Okay. Settings, rendering, activating viewport renderer. So, like as if I didn't read the manual this far. And where would I find this? I shouldn't need to look for it now. I should already. This is the last point to get a grasp of it, of the concept. Okay, so option renderer. But this is not what we're talking about. Render image, render audio, view. Okay, view renderer. Okay. Show renderer view. Is that it? No. Viewport renderer. Oh well, that is so. This is the viewport shading. Really curious. Let me see if I can see through this and try to experimentally drop it. Actually export clip, render a preview. Because there are many occasions when I'm in the middle of some work and I like the version, but it's not the intended but it would be good to have a version of something, some file, some image at one point, as the unforeseen or unexpected interesting result, interesting experiment. So settings, for most part, viewport renderer uses the current viewport settings. Okay. Render a still image. 3D viewport, viewport render image. Okay, so 3D viewport, render viewport image. 3D viewport. Sorry. Activating viewport renderer will render from the current active view. With a normal renderer you can abort it, as with a normal renderer you can abort it with escape. Render a still image. Use, oh, okay, it's in the view. Oh, it's in the 3D viewport, but on the menu bar options. Viewport, no, okay, viewport render image. Render the viewport for the animation range of this scene. I'll go crazy like this, but I'll just viewport shading. I'll enable this, and here put some options like scene lights, scene world. Okay, this will be interesting. Wire color random. Render pass, maybe emission, no. Environment. Transparent, what do I get? Something here. Diffuse light. Normal mist, data, mist. Compositor, disable camera always. And those are the settings. And it says it uses a settings from. It will use the settings from the renderer. Render engine workbench. Simplify, do I simplify or what? Performance, high quality normals, flat, studio, color random. Like this, these things I wanted to give a shot, give a test. Quick face culling, cavity. Depth of field, no. Outline, give me the outlines, yes. Spectral lighting, color management, I will ignore it. Freestyle, grease pencil, film, nothing. Performance, CPU, GPU, precision, auto, full, GPU, CPU. And I would select, for example, in the view, render keyframes area, toggle quad, okay, that's for the view. And we got the frames going out. Camera was keyframe, but I'm not sure at this point here for the preview. Oh, I guess we should do this. Is this completed? This is complete. open image. Or did I get perhaps just the open image? No, I don't open the image. Maybe I just don't check that temps directory. This one? Did I get? Oh, so I got the frames rendered. Okay. I got the frames rendered. So what I need to do, this is our result. A sequence of images, and that's not what I wanted. Yes, delete this all. What I wanted was to get the where is it output resolution, render region, render frames, 24 frame range. I want to okay, output file extension, not PNG, FFmpeg video, and the result encoding Matroska auto split video H264 keyframe max B frames, audio no audio. So let's give this a shot in the viewport renderer. View keyframes, or rather the animation range of this scene. Okay, let's have that. So this is the camera. It's working, looking good. Where is the renderer? Renderer, is this one? Is this the thing? This might be finished. Result, that view. Okay, so it shouldn't be the image. Now I should have gotten the actual video. This is what we should get. Come on. Loop. I set it to autoplay loop, autoplay loop. This is the camera keyframed by the instructions as described how to keyframe camera, but don't autoplay the next one. Loop, repeat, and wait, are you kidding with me? Repeat, but not this one. Go back. Repeat this one. Interesting. Uh, 2 megabytes file. Okay, that's nice. Decent. 7 megabytes. 1.6 megabytes. Okay. This is interesting. This is like a productive, accomplishing something. And from previous lesson I know how to get it, set it to video, because it's in the properties for the renderer and the output, the location file output, and the format for the video format, what's the encoding and so on. The post-processing, not super big deal. Sequencer, compositing, okay, we played with that, I like it. Render keyframes, the first frame is always rendered, the fifth frame is repeated. For example, when a 6-frame animation is rendered and the selected object have a key on frame 3 and 5, the following frames will be outputted, okay. And image editor, what is going on? Are we done with the viewport? Yes. Completed with the viewport. Now at the image editor. So I'll close with this. Hit a stream marker. Do the outro. The recapitulation. Like this. So I'll use this screen for recapitulations. I find it useful. And in this session, well, 3 hours, about 3 chapters or two big one chapter big, and anyway 2 breaks. It will be 2 videos. A day is this day 5 for Blender. Well, it will be properly labeled in the title. I just didn't edit the videos to actually get into detail with the labeling. But day 5. This is Blender. I'm going through the manual, and I went through the image editor. The viewport. I got to the image editor section for editors, and for viewport it was interesting checking out. I got playful and far more comfortable using the Blender. Learned about the elements in the all the parts, all the elements, user interface related to the here 3D viewport, which is in the editor section of the manual. A little bit more in detail about the tools available in different modes, and in the more globally and generally about the additional settings and options available for each of the, as they're each available, what are the available ones in which editor mode, but not specifically in detail, just generalized, like what the pivot point options stand for, enabling using snapping, enabling disabling proportional editing. So that's how I got this torus twisted up like this. And got more comfortable how to add another element, how to control around the scene and placements, and select between different elements of the scene, like a camera, using shortcuts for these. And one very interesting thing was actually in the end using, so very practical bit, simple to do, was the keyframing, creating animation using a view mode Where was it? Is it in the navigation section of the view? Walk navigation. So when it's enabled like now, it's possible to look around and move around with cursor keys like in a first person perspective. And it's possible right away, very simply, to create animation from this. When I click left mouse button, it goes out of this mode, the walk. And here is what's possible to, if I enable the camera and lock the camera. Now when I change what I'm changing, the camera will keep framing all my viewport. What viewport sees will be locked to camera. And camera actually is what's going to final render. And if I grab my view sidebar and on the camera section, I say local camera, not that bit, not the local camera, but okay, view lock camera to view. Okay. So lock camera to object to view, and I enable. And if I enable, maybe I just messed up something. Okay, and also to create animation while keyframed animation when walking around, I should also hit one thing I forgot. First, keyframing should be enabled here, like this. Then one selects a view, navigation, walk around, and I hit play. But I can't play, so I'm supposed to first put the play. Hit play, and camera is already animated. So we can see here for the camera, lock camera to view. That's how I got the actually video exported of this. And I animated the camera with auto keyframes being created automatically. That was a one in the section for the 3D viewport. So navigation, how to go through the scene, how many modes or the options are available, how to select, and for what use case, what type, and the elements, the rest of the parts or the elements that go into, that are available in the object edit mode, pardon, not object edit mode, but in the 3D viewport editor. That means also the explanation about our guy here. The cursor in the scene, what's it used for? The tool in the viewport, for example, in the object mode. Adding objects like add a cube object. Or another shape. and other parts of the rest of the parts that are related to the 3D viewport editor. That's what I went through this time. Interesting thing is that it is possible to actually work interactively. In this section of the manual, I'm already able to freely experiment, be playful, in contrast from following a tutorial without going through manual. Doesn't work for me. I want to understand what I'm doing. So thank you for checking out the recapitulation. Check the website, the day by day section on website for either Godot or Blender, in Blender in this case. So it's structured for day by day. This will be day 5, let's say, section of website, and from there I'll keep that as a reference, and from there I will branch out and update and elaborate, not branch, elaborate more on the subject covered in this topic. Meaning that I'll have all parts of the stream videos, shorter videos created, it will be posted in that article on the website for a given day. That's the deal. It will be available also in a full version, long stream, until it gets into on the schedule for editing. And after that it will be exclusive just for the website. Milo Eddy, your host, who loves you most, even you, signing off. I'll be back in an hour with Godot, day 12, I think 12, that will be also fun. Now the outro. Oh, this switch was rather harsh, very loud intro playlist playing. Where are these fancy bits? Here it is.